For the record, can you please state your name and today's date?
My name Clifton R. Jackson Jr. Today's date is 19th of January 2010.
Thank you. How old are you?
43.
Where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in Washington, D.C., 1966.
What was your family's background and educational background?
Both of my parents completed high school and college.
What is your current occupation and current address?
Current occupation is working at the U.S. Postal Service. Current address is 16221 130th Way North, Jupiter, Florida 33478.
At the time of war, were you in a relationship, married, or single?
Yes, I was in a relationship. Yes, I was married. Yeah, didn't like it though.
What was your spouse's or partner's name and wartime occupation?
Okay. Her name was Darlene, and she worked as a administrator in a college university up in Ohio.
When and where were you married?
First time or second time?
First.
Okay, during the first war, I was married in Cleveland, Ohio, April 10th. Can't remember the year.
Did you have children at the time during the war?
God, no.
Where did you live and work during the war?
Excuse me?
Where did you live and work during the war?
During the war, I was stationed over in RAF Lakenheath, which is over in England. I worked at the command post on base and went over to Saudi Arabia for the war.
What was your main wartime activity?
Flight follow aircrafts, meaning I had to make sure they landed and take off on time.
What year were you in the service?
Entered the Air Force in November 1985. Got out in December 1992.
Were you employed outside the home?
No.
What did you choose? Why did you choose that activity?
Why did I choose the military?
Mm-hmm.
My father was in the Air Force, and I think I wanted to always follow my dad's footsteps. And I wanted to get out of D.C. to see other things, to experience other things in life.
What kind of training were you given?
Air Force training, ma'am. Good training. Actually, very good training. 6 weeks of basic training, then I had another 4 weeks of school, 4 to 6 weeks of school to learn my job. But it was good. I enjoyed it.
What was your title?
My title was a Command and Control Specialist. What was your specialty at work? Basically, flight follow aircrafts, make sure that everything on base, keep the commanders in loop of everything that was going on base. I.e., said like there was a bomb threat at the high school, plane going down, stuff like that. Making sure the colonels and commanders were all in the loop, so they won't be blindsided by something that happened the next day.
What did you like and dislike about it?
My job or the Air Force?
Both.
The hours. I disliked the hours. What I liked about the Air Force was the hours. Because it was, I don't want to say this. It was good times and bad times. I liked everything about the Air Force, and there were some things that I hated about it. Mostly was the hours. Because when everybody was out having a good time, I had to be at work. But in the same token, when everybody was out having a good time, at work, I was out having a good time. But it was good.
What special rules or conventions did you have to follow?
Getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, being dressed in 3 seconds. That was in basic training. Rules, You had to make sure your finance was straight. You had to make sure that you was in compliance with uniforms. Make sure your uniform was perfect. There was no lint, no nothing on your uniforms. Your mustache had to be perfect. Your hair had to be cut a perfect way, a certain way. Everything had to be in uniform.
With whom did you work?
With whom did I work?
With whom did you work with?
As far as co-workers, a lot of officers, colonels, anywhere from a general on down to a NCO or sergeant or airman. I work with everybody.
Did you develop friendships during training or the activity itself?
Yes, lots of friendship, lots of.
Did you have family and friends in the service or during war work?
Yes.
How did you feel about the war?
At the time, I felt as though it was something that we needed to do, that we could accomplish our mission in a short amount of time like we did, and then we should have finished it and kept it finished so we wouldn't have to go back over there again. I should have completed the job the first time.
For the record, what war were you in?
The Persian Gulf War.
What were your family's or friends' feelings about the war?
They was nervous and scared, but when I was able to contact them after the first couple of days, then they felt okay.
Were you nervous and scared to go?
Yes. For once, I was just newly married, and I didn't know where they was gonna send us. I couldn't see myself sitting in a tent, hot. But once I got over there, saw where we was gonna be at, got relaxed, had a great time. That's kind of hard to say in a war, but I had a good time.
In what ways did the war change your activities or habits?
Made me more vigilant, meaning I had to make sure everything around me was not a threat to my life. I had to be more security conscious about everything that I do. Even it has come across even today now. I've learned how not to take the same routes all the time. I take different routes to do different things. So it's helped me be more vigilant.
Were you or others in the community treated differently because of your gender, ethnicity, race, or other factors?
No.
What were some of the first changes in your life after the war started?
Some of the changes. I don't know. I can't recall.
What different responsibilities did you have to take on?
During the war, just to make sure all the information that I received was given to the commanders in a properly fashion and as quickly as possible, and make sure all my aircrafts that took off were down and accounted for.
What social activities were you involved in at work or after work with coworkers?
Gym, working out, playing basketball, doing a golf war. That was basically the only thing we can do. We couldn't really go off base to do anything that we would like going to the movies and stuff like that. So we had a basketball court, gym area where we worked out, did aerobics, played basketball, watched TV, watched a lot of movies because a lot of people were sending us movies and stuff. So that was another one of our recreation. Sat there, watched movies. But basically that was it because we all had 12-hour days.
How did you entertain yourself outside of work?
Play games. I spent a lot of time in the gym playing basketball, like I said. Hook up with some friends. We go out if we could go off base, do a little shopping, get back on base. Basically, that was it. It was kind of limited at that time.
What were your weddings like?
My what?
Your weddings.
First one crashed and burned. It was ugly. The second one was great. Some way I can say it.
Did you worry that the other side might not win?
There was some point where I thought they would have won, that something would have happened to us. But as the war went on, and I saw that there wasn't really much of a threat, we all got a little ease. We was all a little more comfortable. That war was the first war where it introduced a lot of technology that America had never seen before. And I was glad to be able to see it firsthand.
Did you know anyone who was killed or wounded in the war?
Yes.
How does that affect you today?
It don't. It's a part of war. It's a part of war.
Tell me about the corresponding via letters or otherwise with friends or family in service.
During the war, it kept at first when we was over there, it took a while for all our mail to get to us because we kept moving around until we got settled down to where we was going to be at. But then once we got settled down, it was plentiful. A letter a week was good enough for me, kept me going.
What effect did the war have on your physical? What effect did the war have on your physical and mental health, or is that of others you knew?
For me, nothing. There were some people who actually seen more blood and gore, body parts spraying all over the place that affected them for the rest of their lives. You got a bunch of young kids that have never seen anything like this that went over there the first time and get thrown into the trenches, and this was what's going on, and it has a way of affecting them in the long run because there's something that they're not used to.
Do you think that the medical care changed because of the war?
Medical care? It should. I hope it does. In some aspect it has changed, but not. I don't think for the veterans. It should be a little bit better for the veterans as far as medical care, because we did go out there and defend this country, and we should get better medical care for some of the stuff that we endured while we was over there. And I'm not talking about just the Gulf War. I'm talking about Vietnam War, Korea War, for those that are still around. There should be better health care for the veterans, especially those that was in the trenches. So.
Do you have worthwhile experiences because of the war?
Do I have?
Worthwhile experiences because of the war.
Yes.
Would you please name them?
My incentive flight after the war in the F-111, we flew over Saudi Arabia. That was great. That was great. My first night of the war, when I didn't go to sleep for 48 hours, I worked in a command post 24 hours and another 12 to 13 hours up in the Saudis air traffic control tower. So that was pretty cool.
What was your most memorable experience?
Meeting General Schwarzkopf and Colin Powell.
I was like, can you explain how?
At the time, they were the big cheese, the big guys. General Schwarzkopf, he was the commander of all the armed forces at that time. General Colin Powell was the second in command. I think it was right. And it's kind of hard to put in words to shake their hands, but I shook their hands, and it was something that a lot of kids that I know from when I grew up could never say they had a chance to do.
Who was the most memorable character?
Memorable character from the Air Force. Master Sergeant Tank. I can't remember his last name, but he worked in life support systems, and he kept everybody in stitches. He had us laughing the whole time, trying to keep our minds off of what was going on, and he just kept us laughing.
Most humorous experience.
Humorous experience. Let me see. Can't recall because it was a lot. There's quite a bit of them. I don't know. I can't recall. Humorous experience. I can't think of one. I can't think of one.
Was there a lack of social opportunities and friends because of the war?
No. No.
How did your community respond to the war and civil defense?
Mixed emotions.
How did you feel about it?
I felt proud to do something for my country. I was happy to be able to be a part of some history-making moments, and what everybody else may have felt, whether good or bad, I didn't care because I felt that I was proud of doing something to help this country.
Do you think child care activities changed for the mothers?
It could have been better. It has changed a little bit for them, but it could have been better. They could have been a little bit more receptive or helpful for the mothers if they had to go to war or their spouse had to go to war. Then it should have been a little bit more better for somebody to be there to help take care of the kids.
Can you tell me all the bases all the places that you have been because of the Air Force?
Yeah. I started out at Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico. Was stationed at RAF Lakenheath in England. Had to go to school in Germany at Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany for a couple of weeks, and then I was in Saudi Arabia for almost a year. And basically I visited other Air Force bases, numerous other Air Force bases, but those were the bases that I was stationed at.
How did it feel to be living on base in different parts of the country?
Stationed in New Mexico was weird because I was a big city guy. I go out to New Mexico was out in the middle of nowhere. And I think the first day I was there, I kind of cried because my supervisor was showing me around the town, and I see a cactus going across the highway. And I'm looking at this cactus, I was like, a tumbleweed going across the highway. I'm looking at this tumbleweed. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm not in Kansas no more. So it was, my first base was a big culture shock. Like I said, I'm from Washington, D.C., big city, and you go into this little small town no bigger than a matchbox. England was nice. The people over there, everything was totally different over there. They was laid back. It was cloudy most of the time, but it was a different atmosphere from the States, or as we called it, the world. We go overseas, we always keep saying, I can't wait to go back to the world, which we're referring to the United States because everything is so fast-paced. Over there, it was just nice and slow and laid back and easy. Germany was the bomb, though. Loved Germany. I was only there for 3 weeks, though, but it was good.
Did you face any racism in your unit?
No. Actually, if I did, I wouldn't know what it was because I wasn't paying attention to it. I got along with everybody. Black, white, red, or brown. I got along with everybody. I think one of the things the Air Force or the military itself wouldn't allow that. But there was probably some there, but like I said, I never really paid that much attention to it.
How did you feel about war news from television? Do you think they got the full story and the full?
No, I don't think they got the full story on it. They got half the story, and they only want to tell the story that sells ratings instead of hearing the full story of what's going on.
If you could have told the story over, how would you tell
the truth, how it was done, what had happened, what would involve to set everything up.
If you had a chance to go back to the military right now, would you?
Yeah.
You would?
Mm-hmm.
In what ways do you think the military has changed as far as healthcare, and the way they take care of their soldiers?
I think they've changed a little bit. I haven't been involved with the military in over 20 years, almost 20 years or something like that. But I think they've changed as far as healthcare goes for the military. It could be better. And a whole lot of aspects of it could be a whole lot better, but they have made stride from what I heard. Not like when I was there though. I had fun. Okay, most humorous moment. I just thought of one. Basic training. We got basically, we went out on base, went to this club. We had to be back in our barracks by 7:30 p.m. And we was all having a good time. We was finally interacting with everybody, girls too. We looked at the clock. It was 7:35. We ran back to our barracks on a back road. Got stopped by security police. We told them what was going on. They told us, go ahead, hurry up and get back. When we got back, our drill instructor was sitting right there waiting for us. We had to explain to him what had happened, what was going on. Then he said, okay, well, you guys, I got something for you. We thought we had KP duty for the next 2 weeks. And we went to an Air Force football game in Houston, Texas. We thought we was in trouble for sure. We thought we was going to die. We got pinned, the hogs of our barracks, because there was like 4 groups in the barracks. Our flight got pinned to hogs because they did a surprise inspection on our barracks, and our bunks and stuff was all messed up. They had some guy parade around because they found a teddy bear in his locker. They had him parade around with the teddy bear in his pants, underpants, all right around the barracks. That was funny because he was crying. His girlfriend had just sent it to him. So the next morning after we went through all of that, there was a big picture of a hog sitting on our door, and they wouldn't let us take it down for nothing in the world. After that, our barracks we had double zeros on everything, marching, cleanliness, and everything. We was known as the Hogs of Flight 347. And they was going to take it down. We decided, no, we don't want it taken down. We want to keep it. Because everybody knew who we were. That was one of the humorous moments I just remembered about. Because that night we were scared as heck. So.
Do you think the strictness in the military has changed from when you were in the service?
I think they go overboard sometimes with the strictness. I know they're trying to get us ready mentally and physically, especially mentally, because if we get captured and become a POW, they will play mind games with us. So they want us to be prepared for that. But in the same token, I think they go overboard doing that. So it's still about the same. It's just that sometimes it can get worse.
If you could change anything about the military, what would it be?
The accessibility of matching your jobs in the military with the civilian sector. Because some people get a job in the military, they can't do it on the outside. So I would think if you go into the military, I would think you would try to get training, to help you if you come back out of the military. I think I would change something far as that goes. Instead of you going and getting the job, and you can't use the job once you get out of the military.
How was the food in the military?
All I can say is about the Air Force. The food in the Air Force was the bomb, especially basic training. Yeah, it was good. It was good, especially basic training.
Do you think that most people don't go to the military because of the basic training and all the PT that has to be done?
Yep. Yes, I do. I think they're misled about what really goes on in basic training. I had fun in basic training. It was some hard work at times, but I had fun. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of good people there. So, good experiences. So, but it's all about, people hear about Marines and their basic training that scares them. But once you're there, it's like, well, they told me this and that. And it's not really what really people say it cracked up to be.
What were some of the rumors that you heard about the Air Force and basic training before you got there?
Actually, it was none. Basic training in the Air Force was the easiest one. That's the one thing I kept hearing. You go in the Air Force, basic training. Theirs was only 6 weeks. Everybody else's was 8 weeks, 10 weeks, or 12 weeks. Now everybody's, I think, is 8 weeks now, 8 or 10 weeks now. So, but I didn't hear anything bad about the basic training in Air Force. Another humorous moment. It has to do with basic training again. Now I left from Baltimore on a flight that took about 10 hours just to get to Lackland Air Force Base. We arrived there at 3 o'clock in the morning. Now mind you, everybody's good and tired, ready to go to sleep. Drill instructors want to play this game called Pick Up, Put 'em Down. Yeah, you get in the line, they line you up chronologically and all this stuff. Your back is just right there on the floor. They have you pick it up, put it down. Pick it up, put it down. They yell in your face, you come all the way down here just to piss me off? I ain't your mother. And I'm like, I'm so tired and sleepy. It's like, man, your breath is humming. Get it out of my face. Get down and give me 20. I don't have $20, sir. 20 push-ups. So I was already humorous. Yeah, so that was another humorous moment. Just thought about. Okay.
Do you trust and support American civilian and military leaders?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think Obama's doing a good job with the troops and the situation in Haiti?
Yeah. Yeah. He has to calculate his movement and stuff and make sure he knows everything that's going on before he makes a decision. I think that's one of the reasons why good Americans don't realize that you just can't rush into anything. You got to sit there and calculate, figure out, assess the damage and everything, and then make your move. You put in who needs to go there and when, because right now we've spread it all over the place in the U.S. I mean, in the world, we're spread it all over the place. So I think he's doing a good job with that.
How did you feel when the war ended?
Persian Gulf War, how I felt? Relief. I was ready to go back home because I miss my family. And like I said, had just got married, so I kind of missed my wife then, my then wife.
What did you do when you heard the news?
The news about what?
The war ended.
I was one of the first to know because of my job. So I couldn't really much say anything, but I knew it was coming.
When you saw the reaction on Soldier's face, how did you feel? When you knew that they could go home?
Happy, relieved, ready to get back to the world. As I was, after a few months out of there in Saudi Arabia, you was ready to go back home. The first 3 months, we just sat there doing nothing, just preparing, training and preparing, and it got monotonous. And that's when they started building gyms and stuff, so we can start doing something else to break the monotonous of it. Then once the war started, you know, we was already prepared. Adrenaline started flowing. We was ready to go, and things ran smooth. And then started getting a little tired and bored of that because, okay, we know we can get these guys. Let's hurry up and get it done so we can go home. Everybody was ready to go home after a couple of weeks of the war.
Have you ever flown on a fighter jet?
Yes.
How was it?
Oh. Just think about the best roller coaster in the world and 20 times that, and that still won't come to it. I enjoyed it. I flew twice.
Did you get the 5 Olympics?
Oh no, they won't let me do that. I would take out half of DC. Ex-wife and everything. No. No, but this is one of the pictures when I went flying. When I was going to go flying.
Have you ever worked on a plane? And if you have, what planes have you worked on?
I've never worked on a plane.
I mean a jet.
I've never worked on a jet either. My career field was not to work on a plane or anything. That was maintenance. I was basically admin.
If you could change your career, would you?
Career field in the Air Force? Yeah. Yes.
What would you change it to?
Avionics.
Why?
That's working with the plane's electronics. That way, when I did get out of the military, I can go work for Boeing or somebody like that, work on the avionics on the airplanes, on commercial aircrafts. Something I would love to do.
Do you have any memorabilia from when you were back in the service?
Do I have what?
Memorabilia? Like, do you still have a uniform?
Yes, I still got my uniforms. I even got some badges here in my thing too.
Can you see?
Sure. Teach the teacher. That was our slogan.
Mm-hmm.
Hold that up again. Hold it. Go ahead.
Got it? Okay. This was the 25th anniversary of the F-111's badge. I happen to be there. These are the same F-111s that took out Gaddafi in Libya. This was one of the squadrons that was underneath me, the 7th Tactical Fighter Squadron. And this, of course, was a badge for the armed forces in Europe. Everybody had to have this badge on, along with their squadron badge and everything else.
What
And
was your rank?
Sergeant.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, before I got out.
You staff sergeant?
Just regular sergeant, buck sergeant.
Okay.
It's about to make staff.
Right. Yeah. I didn't make staff until the reserve.
Yeah.
Show the pictures. Put the photos up.
All these pictures was taken in Saudi Arabia. This one when I was about to go flying. This was the first night of the war. We was preparing the jets. And this one was my wing commander. He was my favorite person. He gave me some advice when I messed up the first time of being certified as a controller. When I EA controller. EA is Emergency Action Controller. And I messed up the first time. I went back there about a couple of days later, aced it. What he told me was, don't be nervous, don't be worried about anything. I know I'm a colonel and I carry a lot of power, a lot of weight, but you and I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you do. So don't worry about it. And I've used that ever since. So that's why I'm not intimidated by a lot of people, because they do the same thing. They put their pants on one leg at a time.
If there's one thing that you could have took from the military and applied to your everyday life, what would it be?
Confidence. I learned confidence when I was in the military, and I use that confidence now to my everyday life when I'm at work. So it was confidence and just confidence, assurance of yourself.
Thank you for doing this interview.
Hey, you're welcome. 2, 3,
Test
testing,
again.
test again,
Good,
test
good,
again.
good, good, good,
1,
good,
2,
good.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.